St. Petersburg, 1916. Winter swallowed the city in silence. But one man stood untouched by the cold. Grigory Rasputin, healer, mystic, and the most feared man in the empire. Some called him a prophet. Others believed he was a monster. But all agreed on one thing. Killing him would not be easy. Rasputin walked through the dim corridors of the palace, the flicker of candles turning his shadow into something long and restless. Each step sounded louder than the last, as if the walls themselves were holding their breath. He sensed danger in the silence, yet he moved forward, eyes sharp, knowing the night was hiding more than it revealed. But all agreed on one thing: killing him would not be easy. Those who crossed Rasputin swore his eyes could see straight into a man's soul. Behind him, conspirators whispered in the shadows, terrified of his power, yet desperate to bring him down. To them, he was no longer just a mystic. He was a threat that had to be eliminated. Rasputin stepped into the dining room, the scent of wine and baked bread filling the air. Faces smiled, voices were polite, but behind each gesture, a hidden intent waited. The table was set, the wine poured, and the night's danger lay silent beneath the warm glow of candlelight. He did not yet know that every bite, every sip, could be a step toward his doom. Rasputin laughed, lifting his glass as if mocking fate itself. Around him, the conspirators held their breath, fear clawing at their hearts. They had prepared the poison, certain it would end him. But his mirth lingered, unbroken, daring the night to try. When the poison failed, panic took hold. With shaking hands, one conspirator raised a pistol. Desperate, terrified, and out of time, Rasputin turned, eyes wide with shock. As the gunshot shattered the night, the gunshot should have ended him. But as the conspirators stared in disbelief, Rasputin began to move, dragging himself across the floor with a will that defied death itself. His eyes blazed with pain, and something far more terrifying. It was as if the darkness around him could not claim what refused to die. Fear turned to frenzy as the conspirators closed in. Shadows swung wildly across the room, shouts, blows, panic. Yet even as they struck him again and again, Rasputin pushed against the floor, refusing to stay down. In that moment, they realized the truth. Ending him would take more than bullets. It would take everything they had. At last, exhausted and terrified, the conspirators dragged Rasputin into the frozen night. Snow whipped through the air as they pulled his bound body across the ice, each step toward the Neva River heavy with dread. The wind howled around them, as if the darkness itself protested what they were about to do. But there was no turning back. This time, they swore he would not rise again. When morning came, the river told its final truth. From the shattered ice of the Neva, Rasputin's body was lifted into the pale winter light. Silent now, his legend colder than the water that claimed him. Yet even in death, a question lingered in the frozen air. How does a man so hard to kill ever truly die? They said it was the river that finally claimed him. Beneath the ice, Rasputin sank into the cold blue depths, his eyes half open, as if watching the world slip away. A final breath, a final flicker of life, and in that silent darkness, the legend of the man who refused to die met its last, icy truth. But some stories refuse to end. On certain nights along the Neva, when the mist rises and the city sleeps, people swear they've seen a figure standing by the river's edge. A familiar shape, watching, waiting, as if the man they tried to kill has never truly left, because evil doesn't always stay buried.